We're going to go ahead and get started. Again, this is Shannon Marshall with VDOT's Communications Office. I have VDOT Commissioner Greg Worley here, and he'll be addressing the recent pothole impacts in Hampton Roads. Commissioner Worley?
Well, thank you, Shannon, and thank you for joining me on this conference call today. I've had a number of calls from you, and I just thought it'd be best if I just hold this conference call and try to address some of your questions. The potholes that developed on Interstate 264 on Friday, February 8th resulted in severe traffic impacts to the motorists traveling along the roadway. Last weekend, the chief engineer and I independently traveled the entire length of I-64 and 264 to perform an assessment of the roadway to better direct our resources. And I want to apologize for the inconvenience caused our motorists. We are and we will remain committed to providing the motorists with a safe and reliable transportation network. Heavy rains overnight on Thursday, February 7th, and throughout the day, Friday, February 8th, contributed to the formation of a significant number of potholes on Interstate 264 in Norfolk from Waterside Drive to Broad Creek Bridge, requiring immediate repairs. As soon as the potholes develop, it is the Virginia Department of Transportation's responsibility, and through our TME Enterprises, that's our interstate maintenance contractor, to immediately repair them in accordance with existing performance standards in our contract. TME and Enterprises and VDOT crews worked around the clock last weekend performing pothole repairs on interstates across Hampton Roads area, Southampton Roads. Prior to last weekend, TME had been using a coal mix asphalt to make the repairs. In order to develop a more durable fix to the pothole repairs, a directive was issued to TME to switch from coal mix to hot mix asphalt. And we used 56.5 tons of hot asphalt was used to make immediate and necessary repairs. In addition, an emergency directive was given to conduct repairs via an emergency work order using existing contracts. The department shifted a contractor that we had, Curtis Contracting, who was performing work on I-64. We shifted them to I-264 to make permanent repairs on the roadway. On Monday, February 11th, VDOT signed a $3 million contract with Curtis Contracting to begin emergency concrete repairs on I-264 East between Claiborne Avenue, Overpass, and Ballantyne Boulevard. Now, as we look to the future, I have instructed our staff to do the following. One, within 2 weeks, and that was 2 weeks from last Friday, I went to Hampton Roads District, led by our chief engineer, Garrett Moore, to provide me with a report that assesses the situations and the lessons learned. The chief engineer will meet with TME Enterprises to further evaluate its performance. In addition, the evaluation of TME will be completed prior to any future contracts, and to the extent lessons learned and performance issues are identified, which are not already incorporated into the contract, I will work with TME to incorporate such provision into any future contract. I will hold a briefing with our Commonwealth Transportation Board members in the area and legislators to inform them on the progress that we're making to the situation in Hampton Roads. Now, as part of our performance standards, all future contracts will require that potholes that are 36 inches square, and that is 6 inches by 6 inches, and 1.5 inches deep, be repaired immediately upon discovery. Moreover, to the extent weather permits, permanent patches over 500 square inches, which is be 2 by 2, shall be squared off and patched with like material and that is concrete for concrete pavement and asphalt for asphalt pavement within 30 days. And these are some of the changes that we've already made in our future contracts. Now, more than $40 million in concrete rehabilitation contracts are currently underway, exclusively for Interstate 64 and I-264. VDOT is working to develop additional on-call concrete patching contracts. Contract crews will continue to work this Friday, February 15th, through Monday, February 18th, trying to fix all of the potholes. Now, claims. We've got a number of questions about claims. If a motorist hits a pothole, which they believe caused damage to their vehicle, they have the right to submit a damage claim. Under the terms of our contract with TME, they are responsible for evaluating the claims. Now, if you have a claim, contact VDOT's Customer Service Center at 1-800-4FOR-ROAD, R-O-A-D, and that number is 1-800-367-7623. That number again is 1-800-367-7623. You'll be notified that your claim has been received and will be processed, and VDOT will monitor all claims to ensure they are handled in a quick and thorough manner.
Thank you, Commissioner Worley. At this time, we will open the floor to questions.
Okay. Mr. Worley, this is Andy Fox from 10 on your side. We just reported that Dennis Hewer is leaving VDOT. Is he retiring? Was he fired, or was he reassigned?
Andy, in reference to that question, the Hampton Roads District Administrator, Dennis Hewer, he has been a dedicated professional who has always performed his duties with the best interests of the citizens of the Commonwealth and the traveling public in mind. He told me today that in the best interest of the Hampton Roads community, that effective tomorrow, February 15th, he will be departing VDOT to pursue other interests and opportunities. Now, I must say that I know we have a pretty tough situation to deal with in the Hampton Roads area with I-264. And I agree that that situation should have never happened. But I would have to say that the Hampton Roads District has had many successes under the leadership of Dennis Hewer as the Hampton Roads District Administrator. Under his leadership, some major projects includes Interstate I-64 Battlefield Boulevard Improvement Project in Chesapeake, the Chincoteague Bridge in Accomack, and the innovative way in which we are building the Gilmerton Bridge project in Chesapeake. And so I do want to thank Dennis for his service, and I wish him well as he pursue other things. Now, effective immediately, I have appointed Mike Estes to be the acting Hampton Roads District Administrator. Mike currently serves VDOT as the Director of Strategic Initiatives. In this role, he has worked directly with me and has been responsible for overseeing a variety of efforts pertaining to our business and program delivery. Mike is a professional engineer. Mike has served for 8 years as VDOT's Local Assistance Division Director, leading his team to partner with local government on a range of transportation issues. Some of this included collaborating with cities in Hampton Roads region and streamlining their program delivery. Now, Mike brings a tremendous amount of experience to the department, and I feel very comfortable with the Hampton Roads District being under his leadership. But we are going to immediately began the search for a new Hampton Roads District Administrator.
Commissioner, why do you think Dennis told you that it is in the best interest of the Hampton Roads community for him to leave?
Excuse me, sir, can you identify yourself?
Dave Forrester with the pilot.
Thank you, Dave.
And your question again was?
Why do you think Dennis told you that it is in the best interest of the Hampton Roads community for him to leave?
Well, you know, Dennis is a professional, and he wants only the best for Hampton Roads District. And he has worked hard advocating for funding, trying to get our projects done and done on time. And with the amount of press and concern that was raised around this issues and others, I think he felt that it was his best interest and in the best interest of the Commonwealth or Hampton Roads to pursue other interests.
Mr. Worley, do you think, did he lose your confidence? I mean, it wasn't just one incident. I remember when Mr. Kilpatrick came down during the summer and he said, we're going to learn from this. Things are going to be different, and they aren't different under his leadership. Did he lose your confidence in the end, Mr. Worley?
Well, Andy, I think this is Andy, right?
Yes, Andy Fox from 10 on your side, Wavy TV.
Andy, you know, I believe in learning from mistakes, and we've had a couple of issues. And I trust that Dennis made the right decision to pursue other interests because he did not want to be a barrier or a source of a continuing issue in the area. In terms of losing my confidence, Dennis is a good engineer, and I think he would do well as he pursue other interests.
He's a good engineer, but was he a good manager? I mean, I've talked to many people and dealing with the accountability. I mean, Lauren Hansen, who is a very fine employee of yours because she's kind of been bearing the brunt of all this, he was never available. He never answered questions. It did not look like he was exuding the powerful management style that's needed in a position like this. Yes, he's a good engineer, but don't you think he was a questionable manager, and that's what led to a lot of these problems in the Hampton Roads District, which one commissioner told me was very unique because the other districts don't seem to have this problem?
I believe that Dennis was a good manager, and I mean that's the bottom line. We had some unfortunate issues, and I'm not going to go much deeper into discussing personnel matters, but you know, Dennis has made his decision, and we need to move on. My focus now is how do we improve the roads, the road network.
Thank you, Andy and Dave.
When you're talking about, yes, this is Lori Simmons from Channel 3. Commissioner, you know, we talked about oversight a couple days ago, and you know, really, how can we make sure that these contractors have the proper oversight? I mean, there have been questions about whether monitors were ever on this road from VDOT looking over the contractors' work. Tons of other contractors in the area have brought this up to us, saying that TME basically ran the place and never had anybody watching them or the work that they were doing. How do we fix this? Where is the oversight from VDOT going to be? And why do we have to bring an independent company in that will probably cost us more money when it's VDOT's responsibility to do that oversight?
There are a couple questions there, and I'll try to answer them. Number one, we do, in terms of the oversight, we have monitors. That's the term we use there, called monitors. And I guess the official title could be TAM's Contract Service Inspector. And we have them out on the roads, you know, monitoring the activities of TME and other TAMs, which we call Turnkey Asset Management Contracts. We have these monitors looking at their process. Now, we also have performance standards. These monitors are to review the work of these contractors to make certain that they're meeting these performance standards. In addition, the separate company that you referred to which is, we call this maintenance rating process, MRP. We hire a company to come in to do an independent evaluation of the work that's being performed to make certain that these contractors are living up to their contract in an impartial way.
So you guys put those into place, but was that happening? Were those monitors watching TME? Was that independent company looking over their contracts closely enough versus the performance?
Okay. I have the chief engineer on site today, right now, looking at the detailed reports to see what type of monitoring documentation do we have, when were items or issues identified on the roads, and when were they repaired. That's a part of the monitoring process. The monitor on the road, if they see an issue, is supposed to identify the area that needs to be repaired, contact the contractor, TME, and TME is responsible for repairing that road in a certain time period in accordance with the contract. Now, that process does not mean that TME doesn't have a responsibility to do the same. TME is responsible to ride the roads and identify areas that need attention, just like VDOT. So my chief engineer is reviewing those records. He's going to meet with TME. He's going to review their records, and then he's going, as a part of his report, will make an assessment on whether our monitoring process was effective.
Mr. Worley, one of the things about TME, just to stay on that same line, I'm sorry I cut off that other reporter, but along those same lines, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the city of Norfolk has cited TME for illegal dumping and polluting the storm water system. I mean, what is TME doing to be involved in something like that, number one? And number two, how come the questionable quality of work for these potholes hasn't been better checked by VDOT and by the independent oversight people? But most importantly, they have been charged with illegal dumping, your guys.
This has been brought to my attention with the issue that has been raised regarding TME that was raised by the city of Norfolk. We are looking into that. I do not have the facts around that at this point, but we are looking into it, and I am aware of it.
Commissioner, Austin Belge from the Daily Press.
Commissioner, I'm sorry, Andy, what was your second question?
My question is, I know that people want to beat up on TME and everything, but it's ultimately VDOT. I mean, isn't VDOT driving around saying, hey, TME, you need to get out here because there are bad potholes here, and this is going to create a bigger problem? It's ultimately VDOT, and accountability needs to rest with VDOT, yes?
That is an accurate statement. We also have a responsibility. Just because I contract out work to a contractor, that does not relieve VDOT of the responsibility to fix these roads. That is an accurate statement.
So when we say where is the accountability, which has been a big discussion around our newsroom table, the accountability is ultimately with VDOT. Dennis Hewer was the administrator in this district. He thinks it's now in the best interest of everyone that he leaves, and this is exactly what happens when things like this happen, right?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but I can tell you that VDOT is ultimately responsible to make certain that our roads are in good condition.
Does anyone else on the line have questions?
Commissioner, it's Austin Belge from the Daily Press. I'm wondering, so is TME, has all the contracts currently been terminated, or are they still in charge of pothole repair then for I-264 and I-64?
I believe TME is currently under contract. I believe their contract will expire in May. I think maybe the middle of May. Their current contract will expire in the middle of May.
I see. So they're still going to be in charge of pothole repair for Hampton Roads until then, correct?
That is correct.
Wait, Mr. Worley, I thought they just signed a new contract which takes them through the next year.
Andy, can you give the commissioner time to address Austin's question?
I still have it. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
So
So I'm wondering, so is Curtis Contracting, are they coming in on top to basically do their job until May, or what's the relationship then here?
First, let me finish up with the other question. TME is responsible for fixing potholes on the interstate. Okay, so you said fixing potholes. It's on.
Yes, that's what I meant.
In reference to Curtis Contracting, we brought them in to make permanent repairs on the area that was identified on 264. And we consider that to be an emergency, and we asked TME to get that done. Now, it is not in the scope of work for TME to actually be performing major repairs on the road. It is primarily to fix potholes. But there becomes a time when fixing a pothole is just not good enough. You need to go in and do major repairs. And that's what we brought the Curtis Contracting Group to come in and do. Rather than just put hot mix asphalt down in that bad area, we decided to go in and let's do a permanent repair and do it right. So we brought Curtis Contracting in to make that happen.
All righty. Thanks.
Commissioner, when we spoke yesterday, this is Phil Townsend with 13 News. When we spoke yesterday, you mentioned an internal review that you're going to be conducting. Now, with Dennis leaving, how does this affect that internal review? Will you still be looking at his position, the work he's been doing?
Yes.
And what exactly goes into that?
I'm sorry. The decision for Dennis Ure to leave will not impact my review. We are still conducting a review of the situation, and I expect that report to be issued Friday, February 22nd, I believe it is.
Are there any other questions?
What kinds of things can we expect from that review? What will you be looking at, maybe some of the performance issues that maybe Dennis had?
We will be looking at the monitoring process, the question that I was asked a few minutes ago. How are we monitoring the roads? How is my staff monitoring the roads? What documentation exists? When was the road identified, a condition on the road identified that need to be fixed? When was it fixed? How long did it take? Those are the types of things I want to look at. We will also be assessing the means and methods in which we fix the potholes. Is it appropriate to use this cold mix? Is it appropriate to use hot mix? Is it appropriate to use a different product to make that repair? Now, those are the types of things, and I want to also look at, I'm going to look at the contractor. Now, the contractor also has responsibility, and that is if you put in a certain a patch, and that patch is not working, then you need to change and do something different. You don't wait for VDOT to tell you to switch from cold mix to hot mix, particularly if that patch is not holding. Now, so there are a number of things like that we're going to be evaluating, and hopefully will be addressed when I get this report in 2 weeks.
Mr. Worley, I'm sorry, this is Andy Fox again. I really want to make sure I understand about the contract. My understanding was that they had just signed a $31 or $32 million contract. Is that the same one that goes to the middle of May, or is that one that goes past May for a whole nother year?
Okay, Andy, the contract that's in place now is one that's been in place for about 3 or 4 years, 5 years. That contract is to expire in May. I have not signed a new contract with TME. I do not plan to sign a new contract with TME until such time that I've completed my review, and I'm sure that we have the right requirements in the contract, and I'm comfortable that the contractor can deliver.
Thank you, Mr. Worley. That cleared it up. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, for about one
Commissioner,
more
I wanted to ask one other question, and it relates to Friday and the involvement with state police. you know, in our conversations with state troopers, they said that this is a constant problem. They're the ones that drive those roadways every single day. They're the ones that report to VDOT the conditions of the road, not TME. They said that TME has also neglected, in addition to potholes, from emptying drains, for example, and ahead of a rainstorm, that the troopers are the ones that have to call TME out before a big rainstorm to make sure that the drains are clear on the interstate, that, you know, there are problems with trash littering the sides of the roads when they pull people over. Is this something also that you are going to be looking into? Because this is not just potholes, it's a complete failure by TME to fill every single part of that contract. Where was that $24 million going this entire time?
Yes, that will be a part of the review that we will be looking at within the next 2 weeks.
And Mr. Worley, we don't want to FOIA the contract. Will you provide that contract between VDOT and TME? Will you provide that to us without us having to FOIA it?
That contract is public information, and be happy to provide it to you.
Is that Andy?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Well,
yes, that's Andy. Yeah, we'd like to have a yeah. There's Andy. Are you a PDF it to us?
Okay, yeah, sure. And as we wrap up, I just want to emphasize that if you have further questions, you can contact me. Again, my name is Shannon Marshall. My contact information is on the media advisory. My phone number is 804-371-6844, and my email address is shannon.marshall@vdot.virginia.gov. So
Shannon,
again,
I have a question because we were told that that contract had to be FOIA'd by Lauren Hansen. Why weren't we told this earlier, that we can just have that contract, that it's not
Lori, I'll work with you. I'll make sure you get that, okay?
Okay. And we'll call, we'll call and get that. Will you just, what's the best way, Shannon, to do that? Just to give you a call and tell you the email?
I'll go ahead and email it to you. Obviously, I'll look and see what size that is, but I'll make sure it gets to you in the best format.
Okay, thank you very much. And Mr. Worley, thank you very much for spending time with us.